So recently I saw this post of an offer that someone received from Doordash that gives you the option to make $14 per hour instead of just waiting for deliveries the normal gig way. So according to this, you will get $14 per hour while you're doing this, and you also get all the tips. But here's the biggest catch on this thing. You can't decline more than 2 orders per hour, otherwise it will end your dash. So what really makes me think about this whole thing, how my day is when I'm working DoorDash or working Uber. It usually plays out like this. You'll get probably out of 50 orders, 15 orders because of the amount of deliveries that you're declining. And the reason why a lot of us decline is because we're getting paid scraps with payouts of like $2.50. I've seen even as low as $1.50 from Uber, without including a tip, of course. So this is pretty crazy. So I can't see anybody possibly living off of stuff like this. So this idea of the $14 per hour sounds cool, but if, like I said, you're going to be getting a majority of orders you would typically decline, that means the person that's working the $14 per hour are most likely going to be fed a bunch of deliveries that don't tip. So that means by the end of the day, you'll be making $14 an hour, period. This could work for a place that maybe is slow, but then again, DoorDash likes to do this thing where if your area is too slow, they kick you out by periodically putting you on pause mode. And this is their way of telling you end the dash and go move to another area. So if this is still the case where they do the same type of thing, then you probably won't be making that $14 an hour in a slow area. You have to be in a busy area. So overall, I just think this is a really silly idea, because if you're going to be forced to take all of these really terrible orders, then you need to be compensated for it. And $14 an hour is not enough, especially when you're having to count in gas prices, routine maintenances like oil changes, on top of if you just get a random flat. I know I got like freaking 4 flats over the past 4 months. Like, it's been crazy for me. I've been having a really rough time. So if I didn't have insurance to cover those tires, oh my God, I would have been spending thousands of dollars on tires by now. So there's a lot of expenses that comes out of working your car, you know? If it was paying at least $20 an hour, I think it would be more worth it. But then again, you could land up getting a really good hour if you just filtered through all the bullshit orders and landed up taking, like, let's say you got a good $10 order that's like a mile away. I know that's kind of rare in my area, but if you landed up getting something like that and hit the jackpot, then it's awesome. Especially if it's a simple delivery, like just taking some food over and not going grocery shopping, you know? I like that they're trying something with this, but I just feel like it still isn't enough. And then the saddest part about all this is that this system is basically letting customers that don't tip get away with what they do. And I know it's pretty bad to put the financial burden of tipping onto the customer. Like, I wish that tips were an optional thing. But when it comes to these apps, and when it comes to just restaurants in general, you can't just not tip your waiter, you know? Because a majority of their pay comes out of tips. Because I don't know how it is now, but back when I waited tables, like, I don't know, 15 years ago, we were only getting paid like $5 an hour at the most, usually. So tips were the only way to really make a real income. And yes, at the end of the day, we should be blaming the companies that get away with this bullshit. But this is not how America works. And it's pretty sad, to be honest. For example, let's look at some of my orders from Uber yesterday. So here's a pretty good one. I made $10.48 on this delivery. It was 4 miles, and it only took me about 17 minutes. So this was pretty nice. So here's where the problem lies with this. The base fare that I was offered from Uber was $2.81. The customer tipped $7.67. Plus they gave a trip supplement. I don't know what the hell that means for 39 cents. I guess this is that whole, maybe that gas charge thing that they're doing, which is honestly bullshit. 39 cents, what the hell am I going to do with that? So here's where the delivery charge is. Uber charged the customer $5.46 for this delivery. And they took $2.65 off of me from that delivery charge. This is fucked up. If Uber was paying out the full delivery charge to me, we wouldn't be having the problems that we're having right now, where we're declining a bunch of orders back to back. Because if you think about it, that $5.46, and if the customer wanted to tip a couple bucks, that's $7 right there and 46 cents. That's still pretty nice. I would have gladly took that order. But instead, the thing with Uber and DoorDash, they both work the same exact way. They take a cut off of the driver, they take a cut off of the customer, they take a cut off of the establishment, the business. But where the hell does all that money go? So literally, these companies are making billions every single year off of everybody, you know? And no one complains about this stuff. And of course, they need to make their money. They're the middleman. They're the one that's offering the service, which is fine. If they were going to charge the restaurant, then I guess that's not as big of a deal. But when they're charging every single aspect of that, like they're charging the actual drivers, is really messed up. And this is something that needs to change. So if these companies, DoorDash, Uber, Grubhub, whatever else, the only ones I've ever done is DoorDash and Uber, so I can't really talk about the others. But I'm assuming they're all doing the same thing, because it seems like all these companies, they just follow each other. It's almost as if like the same CFO is working for like all the companies, and they're all just in cahoots with each other, just trying to give each other like, this is the way you're supposed to charge everybody. You know, this is how you make your cuts. You know, it's so weird. And I just wish at the end of the day that they would treat us all fairly. Like, why should the customer tip? You know, I always think about that all the time. Why are they forced to tip in the States? Whereas I've heard in other countries, they don't even do tip stuff. There's a lot of countries that don't even like accepting tips because they actually pay their people right. So I wish things would change with all that, but I don't see it ever changing. It's been happening for the past, like, who knows how long, like hundreds of years. I don't know, like however long restaurant services and all these like delivery jobs have been around, I guess. So it is what it is. We got to just live with it. But I wish we didn't have to. I just wish one of these companies would come out with like a new app and like actually treat the drivers with a little bit more respect. Because taking a delivery for $2.69 is abysmal. There's no way you could possibly make a living off of this. And this is why a lot of us decline those orders. Anyway, I just wanted to talk about this whole subject. I wanted to see what you guys think about this whole thing. Me personally, I wouldn't be doing the $14 an hour on DoorDash. I feel like it's not worth it, especially since in my area, there's a lot of moments where DoorDash would just completely gray out and then you can't even work at all. So I pretty much use Uber as a primary source of my income because DoorDash is like hit or miss a lot of days. And I'm sure as hell not going to be commuting down to like the terrible areas where like there's like no tipping going on, which I'm going to talk about that in another video. But anyways, thanks for watching. Leave a thumbs up if you liked the video, thumbs down if you didn't, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.